Hello, besties. So, today we are going to discuss the minuscule amount of pages that I read of this. I think I read around 4 chapters. I still don't necessarily understand the purpose of this reality TV show competition because the eliminations keep happening off screen and the challenges seem a little silly. Like, I don't fully understand what the point of the challenges are or why it's called the Epic Trek. Like, they do a new challenge in every city that they visit, and I understand that they're visiting new cities, but and there's also like a social media component to this, but it's not even like Asher and Theo having to like manage the social media. Like, it's all being managed by the production company. And so, as much as this is an improvement on You and I Rewritten, I don't know if it matters as much because what is actually happening in the narrative might be worse than this like love story at this small independent publishing house, um, with like an alcoholic father coming back into the picture. Like, all of that, I think was probably, it made more logical sense than whatever is happening here. In this, like, oh, I don't want to keep faking it for the cameras. I want it to be real. Like, I need this to be real for you and I. Um, I don't really know if all of it's clicking together. And part of this probably because I did just read Spiral, which was a really good fake dating story. And we also know that like fake dating is like, I don't say it's hard to pull off, but it kind of is. Like, it truly kind of is like really hard to pull off, particularly in an era when like everybody and their mother is doing it. It is so prevalent in front of mine that like there are a million and one books that yours is going to be compared to. And so while I do appreciate the effort and I appreciate the changes in Chip Pons's writing and the development that he has crafted from book one to the second novel, um, I do fear that maybe past Monty was correct when they were like, yeah, we don't need to read anything else by them. So we are learning from this mistake, besties. And as I said, there's, even though I didn't read that many pages, like there was a sex scene, there was a competition, there were people going home, and none of it matters. Also, the front runners of this competition are clearly like cheating and undermining, which seems silly to me when they're already the best. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like if we found out that Venus or Serena Williams was, I don't know, like torturing somebody before a round. It's like, that's crazy behavior because you were going to win anyway. So it's like, if you're already or like Michael Jordan or like LeBron James, like these people who are already Simone Biles, like these people who are, I guess it's, who was that, little bicyclist man? Oh, with his little yellow wristbands, but like, didn't he have like testicular cancer, prostate cancer? Anyway, I guess him, like when it came out that he was doping, that's kind of what it feels like to watch these people who are so clearly in the lead of this competition. Also, what really kills me is like the competitions also don't matter because the announcer on this television show has already told us that like the front runner in past seasons has already like not won, and in past seasons the social media component of the game has like pushed people who might not have won based on the challenges to win. And so it's kind of like, I don't understand the viewpoint of we're going to sabotage these people at every challenge, and at every turn along the way we're going to undercut the competition, when you could be doing all of that and, you know, still being the best, and you would still lose because you didn't play the good social media game. Like, it just, to me, that is, it's so crazy. It's so, and I guess like maybe you'd be betting on like the fans at home are going to be like, oh, we want you to win. But if the fans at home really thought that way, then they would have been backing you in the social media component of this competition. And so, again, like all around, like the logic doesn't make sense for these people who are supposed to be like so cutthroat and so thinking through everything and just at the pinnacle of their career, and like have so clearly like watched this reality TV show and have studied it and are now here to win. I think people who do that, who do study the game, in my experience, I'm from the outside looking in, and I say on the outside looking in, mostly it's people talking on TikTok about the reality TV shows that they watch, namely like Survivor and Big Brother. And when you talk about people who have studied the game, like when you see the people on TikTok talking about those people, they appreciate those people a little bit, and then they also see that like, yeah, these people have clearly studied. It's like maybe they don't love them as much, but like they still respect the hustle and the game. And then you also see those people who go on a different show like Traders. I watched the second season of the Traders, and sometimes those Big Brother people don't necessarily, I mean, sometimes the social game that you have for Big Brother will work in Big Brother, but it doesn't work in a show like the Traders. So like the adaptability is also like really important. And so these people in this little book, and again, it doesn't even matter these people, but like they don't seem to be adapting to like their surroundings at all. It's just like, haha, we're gonna be the best, we're gonna undercut people, and like that's just gonna be what it's gonna be. And so particularly for me, that's not necessarily the most interesting. As for Theo and Ash, or as a couple, they're still fine. I still appreciate them. I still have respect for their little story that we got going on for them, but they're not feeling not a new favorite couple. They're not Sage and what was that man's name? Elias. Sage and Elias were a fun little time, and they're not necessarily even like a new favorite couple I'm gonna remember in 10 years time. But for 2025, I think they're fun. I like them. So those are my thoughts on that. But today, the reason I'm telling myself I didn't do a lot of reading is because I went to go to the movies and I saw Marty Supreme, and that movie was forever long. I walked into that movie theater at noon. The showtime was at noon, so then um, you factor in the previews, which I did. I didn't walk out of that theater until like literally 3 o'clock. Originally, I had planned to see that new Kate Hudson and what's his name? The man who plays Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. They have a movie, I think it's called Song Sung Blues, maybe. I forget. But I was like, I like Kate Hudson, and I think her and Hugh Jackman is a crazy pairing to put together, but whatever. I'll support you, Kate Hudson. But I couldn't do it. I had to cancel my reservation because it was like I literally just sat through a 3 hour movie that I'm not even entirely sure that I liked, but I know that I didn't hate. And it was just too soon. It was entirely too soon for me to walk into the lobby and then be like, okay, let me go get seated for the next movie. Like it just, I needed to process Margie Supreme. And now that it's been a few hours, and by a few hours, I mean, it's been, I don't know, like 6 hours, not 6 hours by the time I'm filming. It's only been like 3 hours. It's been 4 hours because it's now 7 o'clock. I don't know if I like it any better. I had some dinner, I watched some YouTube videos, I've pondered on this movie, and it's not a bad movie. There's some really good performances, surprisingly, from like Kevin O'Leary, that man from Shark Tank, who I think is probably repugnant. Every time I see him like on the news or on TikTok and he's like talking about economics, like the thing he's supposed to be good at as a businessman, again, repugnant. But in the movie, as Gwyneth Paltrow's husband and like this sort of um he's playing a businessman, so I'm not really sure that it's like a stretch for Kevin O'Leary. But in terms of like a debut acting performance, it was a really good. Like I was like, oh my goodness, you can do this. And I say this as a person who I think the only other Safdie's Brothers film that I watched was Uncut Gems, and I just thought that was really fun. I had really fond memories of sitting in that movie theater and like seeing this different side to Adam Sandler. And it just really worked for me. And the entire time I was watching Marty Supreme, it was kind of like this after I think Josh is the director of this one, just Josh, not his brother. And it's like it kind of felt like the Safdies really thought that Uncut Gems was going to win some awards, and they were really going to like parlay this into other things. And it's not that the Safdie brothers have not worked since Uncut Gems, but I don't really know. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of felt like nothing had really hit for them the same way that Uncut Gems had. And they were like, what if we took Uncut Gems and we made it a little bit, I say a little bit happier. There's still so much crazy shit in this movie. Like the things that Timothy Chalamet was saying, I was like, what are we doing here? And then I was also thinking that like maybe the past like year and a half that I've been seeing Mr. Tim Tam everywhere in my life, it kind of felt like he has just been stuck in this like the way that y'all were dragging Austin Butler for talking like Elvis. It almost feels like Timothy Chalamet has been living his life as Marty Supreme. And I don't really know if that's working out for him. Like, Marty Supreme is a man who'd be making that weird speech that he gave at the Golden Globes and he was accepting for, was that for a complete unknown that he won that, what was it, SAG? Whenever he won that award, he's like, I'm going to be one of the greatest sons, so I do it. It was definitely giving, he was still stuck on the set of Marty Supreme. That's what that was giving. And also the fact, like, just the caliber of talent that the Safdie was able to get for this movie is kind of crazy. Like, the idea that Gwyneth Paltrow is in this movie as, like, just a glorified, like, her character is not really a character. She's like this aged starlet who's in this loveless marriage to Kevin O'Leary's character, and she is really just a sex person. Like she's just a sex object for Marty. And Marty also has this other girl, Rachel, and her entire, like, she almost dies. Like she almost gets brutally murdered at least like twice over the course of this film, running around after Timothy Chalamet's character. And that is part of the storyline, is like all of this, like the great lengths that Marty is going to for some fucking ping pong. And to be honest with you, the every time the stakes got raised and he tried to do some new little con job, It was just like, what are we doing here? And that's the other reason. Again, maybe Uncut Gems is not that, but it really felt like I was watching 3 hours of this man robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then for him to get the ending that he does in the end was crazy. And all that is to say that again, I didn't hate this movie. I think that there were some real highlights of this movie, like Kevin O'Leary's character. He was a highlight. The actor who plays Timothy's like ping pong rival, I could have sworn I see him acting in like 3 different things, but apparently that is untrue. That is just a legitimate ping pong like world champion talent. And so maybe I've seen him like during Olympic coverage, but that man looks super familiar. I don't really know if he's trying to act these days, but I would hope that he did because I liked his face. I like seeing him in things. I thought he had some great talent as well. Tyler the Creator popped up, I think, in this movie, and I was like, oh my goodness, what are you doing here? I couldn't tell if that was just the shape of his head or they put him in a wig and it was doing things to his head that made him look misshapen. But other than that, I was like, okay, interesting choices here. Fran Drescher has already talked about the fact that she is not really in this movie a whole lot, but it was nice to see her in the movie. I was like, congratulations, getting some work. Her character had a little bit more depth and nuance than Gwyneth Paltrow, which I guess he kind of loved to see it, even though she was just playing somebody's mother. Again, there was a little bit more for her to do in the role of his mother for the 2 seconds she was in the film. But I think that Timothy is asked to carry this movie a lot, and for me, it didn't work. I don't know if he could do it, and part of it is I just feel like, and maybe this is why was that even him in A Complete Unknown, that little Bob Dylan movie that I watched like a year ago at this point. I think that was him, right? I just don't know if I buy Tim Tam in a period piece this far back. And it's not to say that he don't got period pieces on his resume because I'm not. Well, I guess he was in that Little Women movie, but Little Women was doing a lot of interesting things anyway. And it wasn't like he was the selling point of that movie. He was just in it, and it kind of worked there a little bit. I don't know. I don't have any opinions on him in Little Women. I didn't hate it. But I just feel like his face was too modern to be this man. And then his acting choices, and it wasn't even the fact that it was him. Like a lot of people have these little acting choices in this movie that don't really feel like we're existing in the 1950s. And I don't really know the movie was trying to really put us in the 1950s to the degree that like when you're watching Sinners, you're like, oh my goodness, yes, like we are back in ye olde times. But overall, like again, Tim Tam's performance was not my favorite. I think there were stronger performances in the movie. But I guess if he's been living his life as Marty Supreme, then maybe I have just been, that might be some of it as well. That's like, I couldn't really separate it because it felt like this character is a person I've been seeing in real life now for the better part of a year and a half. And so it's just like, I can't see you really sink into this role because I feel like you spoiled the role for me with all your little antics. Do I think he's going to get his Oscar Gold for this? I guess I'll have to see the performances he's nominated against. I would have a hard time awarding this one. Again, he does have the resume, so it's like, I mean, you're already sitting here racking up roles where you could have got it and you didn't get it. So like, at what point do you get your legacy Oscar, even though you're not even like 30 years? Is he? No, I think it's like 28, right? 27, 28. So it's like, I don't know. Again, I didn't hate it. It was a fun time. If I did this tomorrow, like on Christmas, I'd probably be more upset than like wasting a Christmas Eve because what is Christmas Eve? And I say that as someone like, what am I gonna do tomorrow? Like, I'm probably gonna marathon Heated Rivalry tomorrow. So, and I as the performance of this was, like, am I going to find a better performance in Heated Rivalry? Maybe. The girlies are going up for it. Who knows? But we'll save that for tomorrow when I can actually talk and things. But the goal for tomorrow is definitely going to be to finish this, to watch some Heated Rivalry, and maybe even to pick up the Sarah J. Maas I did not pick up today. But for now, that's all I got for you guys, besties. I will see you again tomorrow in another video. But until then, and until next time, have a happy Christmas. Bye.